How to escape the 9 to 5 rat race job. There are so many people working jobs feeling unhappy, restricted, and even bored, eventually having health issues as our body starts to tell our inner story, right? Feeling stuck in an eat, sleep, work routine. I spent years working in the corporate world, having everything money could buy, feeling dead inside after a while. I had a work addiction. I got praised for doing the work of 3 people. I got bonuses and titles, caught in a glorified rat race. My question for you today is, what is the difference between a person who sacrifices their health, their lives, and relationships for a daily job just for money, and a prostitute that sacrifices his or her body for money? For some, you might answer, well, a prostitute is selling their bodies for money. I'm Georgie Holbrook. I've been self-employed for 30 years, and I've helped over 2,000 people live healthy, happy lifestyles doing what they love. They may be working for others or themselves, living their purpose and passion, not somebody else's. Click on the link below and let's talk. My answer to the above question is, in the business world, I worked out of exhaustion most days. My success turned to burnout, eventually turned to a major health challenge. I also sold my body for money. Going through a daily routine feeling numb feels familiar after a while, right? Where we don't know anything different. If you work for a corporation, there are strict rules to follow. This is what I found. Dress rules, time to arrive. And I got conditioned to what to do and what not to do. For some, it takes a lot of caffeine to keep them motivated to do their work. When the weekend comes, it's hard to turn off your mind, right? To leave your work behind. I used to go on vacation and still call in. Then the reality of home life, bills to pay, catching up with friends and family, zero time for self-nurturing when Monday morning rolls around again. So ask yourself, when you stop and try to measure your joy, asking how many hours in a day bring you true joy where you want to wake up tomorrow and do it all over again, where you are living your true passion. Many people I've interviewed tell me there is no joy or little joy in their lives. Even the difference between a work week and a weekend, right? So I was one of those people. At age 25, I had everything money could buy. I was a successful businesswoman working in a corporate job. I was healthy. I worked many days, 10 to 12 hours a day. I became trapped in a work addictive system. Looking back, I call it the bondage trap. I was in bondage on my own choice, right? So see if you can identify with this. My temptation to overwork couldn't be rationalized against the importance of my health and spending time with my husband. My financial obligations increased at the same time as the rate of my success. I got rewarded for my work addiction. I got paid well, had titles, and my lifestyle happened to be the envy of my friends. One day at age 36, being in this high-stress career with fancy clothes meant nothing. At age 36, I got burned out. My immune system burned out from placing the demands of my career higher than taking care of my sacred self. My sacrifice? Oh, allergies. First, I had allergies. I took allergy shots for 3 times a week for 5 months. Eventually, my allergies went away. See, up until that time, I was just healthy, I thought. And then after the allergy shots, my face started turning red. And from red, it turned to acne and then to boils. Now I'm 36 years old, going on 37, right? Makeup isn't covering it up. So I go to my first skin care cancer doctor, not thinking that I had cancer. I just needed, this is the way we think, a quick fix. And that first skincare doctor said that I had rosacea, an incurable deforming disease that eventually could affect my eyesight and offered me medication. So I did what hopefully you do. I went and got other opinions. Each one of these specialists offered me medication. But I knew that medication wasn't what I was lacking, but I knew nothing about this body, literally nothing. I knew about work and solving issues, but I knew nothing about my body. So I decided to never place this situation again in my life, this helpless position, to not understand the basics of the mechanics of my body. So I went on my own journey, and I figured that soon I would find the answer and I would heal this face. But that didn't happen. So over the next 6 years, I interviewed specialists, holistic and medical, asking them the same questions. How does the immune system work? How does my body heal? I went on diets, I went on fasting, I went on everything that I could study to help my own immune system. Progressively getting worse. How does that feel, right? Where you just try this. Trial and error remedies were just like a daily thing. People offering me, try this, no, try that. And after a while, I was exhausted and I started doubting my own body. So after 6 years, now I'm at age 42, I found a doctor that had studied the immune system and said I would never heal with this internalized quiver or adrenal exhaustion, that I must find peace within. His name was Dr. Lee. That my natural body rhythms were no longer in harmony. Well, of course, I had burnt myself out. I had adrenal exhaustion. I had internalized uncomfortable quiver, a knot-like feeling in my stomach, cold hands, cold feet. I felt lifeless and frail. I was exhausted. So the next step was to study with a group that believed that our emotional pain and high-stress lifestyles leave our body no choice but to give us health issues as a wake-up call. I learned how to release my years of abusing my body, serving others at my own expense. 100% of my healing came from emotional healing. I self-healed in 1 year without drugs, without scars, and my eyesight returned to normal. I found a spiritual mentor after that could teach me how to heal my broken spirit. I felt broken. I had to face the results from sacrificing myself for a career, much like a slave. When I started therapy, I had been traumatized for 6 years. This diagnosis where my face was deforming and losing my eyesight, where I could no longer read or drive. That's trauma, folks. First, I had to face my years of fear of having been diagnosed with this incurable and that consumed my life every day. Since the first time I was diagnosed, my stress level had been off the charts. My work addiction was a self-destructive behavior. I had denied my stress and personal needs for years. I felt now ashamed of my own behavior. My false feelings of worthiness and my internal need to always be needed had pushed my addiction forward. I had a compulsion to stay busy and stay numb. Serving out of exhaustion had caused me to feel angry and resentment at my own behavior. Work had become my drug of choice. For those that stay stuck in a job, start counting or writing down how many health issues you might already have. I was forced to quit my job because of my health. My health would not allow me to continue to go back to that job. To be a slave in a glorified system that had me believing that they needed me, that doing the work of 3 people was to be praised, that if I died, they would have instantly replaced me and nobody would care that I sacrificed my life. My deformed face and loss of major part of my eyesight was a wake-up call. Self-healing and having a second chance was a gift. I could have died. Once healed, I chose to study the holistic natural healing route to save my face and my life. It was natural for me to want to share my story with other people and caution them. I wanted more self-discovery for myself to replace the years of my own neglect. At first, I took odd jobs just to bring in income in my own recovery, right? I had been traumatized, so I spent a lot of time in nature and got my feet on Mother Earth to rebalance my energy. Then I became self-employed to learn more about my own body. I became a massage therapist. Then I taught at 3 massage schools. Next, I learned craniosacral therapy, as I had a profound experience having a session done on me the first time, where I got to witness how tense, tight, and armored I had held my body perhaps all my life, operating out of my brilliant mind, not realizing I lived in a sacred body that needed loving and breathing life back into myself. Since in my corporate career, I got to hire and train employees at times, I took private contract work now for small companies to hire their sales staff and their office staff. You know, I had never liked giving people those tests to prove their mentality that I'm sure companies still do today. My intuition is very accurate, and getting a sense of who you are as a person, observing your actions and your reactions and your what your goals are. So companies would hire me, as the people I picked to work for them ended up being the perfect fit for them and longtime employees. Then I started my own holistic educational training, teaching others how to self-heal, practice prevention, and mainly learn the mechanics of their own sacred self and fall in love with their own spirit and intuition. What I wished I would have known when choosing a career: no career is worth sacrificing your health for, definitely not your soul for. That I'm telling you, ancient natural remedies and solutions will be abandoned for life soon, taken over by drug care. Are you willing to learn from nature? The opportunity is now. If not now, you're going to wait until you're diagnosed? That's too late to study, because that was my story. Changes come when we are willing to change. Make a sign. My Creator, known by many names, God, divine intelligence, write this down, is bigger and big enough to take care of me, to heal me, and bring me out of whatever's going on in my life and bring out a better, bigger version of myself. I let go of struggle, fear, and self-doubt. If I need help, I am willing to ask for help and not stay stuck. I am willing to invest money in myself, trusting I will be rewarded in ways that go beyond my imagination. We cannot stay stuck, folks. The challenge: if you have health challenges, what if they are caused from stress and unhappiness? What are your choices? Make a list. Maybe you can't quit the job. I suggest you learn to self-nurture yourself and give others your overflow. What if you're unhappy in a relationship that appears stuck? The wedding vow, to death do us part, is about the death of our spirit, when it's time to realize people are in our lives for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. I always want my friends and relationships in my life forever, but they are on their own path, and I need to be willing to stay true to my own path. I'm Georgie Holbrook. For 30 years, I've been in love with my rare gift of intuition. I am a holistic mentor, means I look at you as a whole person and everything that's happened to you along the way for your lifestyle. Your very first session, I'm telling you, your very first session with me, you will start to experience results, not read about it or hoping or wishing, but real life experience. Click on the link below for a free discovery call on my mentoring you to success you are looking for. Enjoy and share this video, and blessings from my heart to yours. I send you great joy. Reach for your joy and don't settle for anything less. Bye for now.